me all the way here.
Thank you for being here. I wanted to just start by saying thank you for our last meeting together, because your words really have been, kind of coming up in my mind. Um, the thing that really touched me was when you talked about how that even a slight desire for things to be different or to be better means that opens the door, that light opens the door, and that desire is fulfilled. And even though we may shut that door again, the desire, is still, I don't know, it just gave me so much hope, and it just felt so loving and like really loving. So thank you for that. I really, really enjoyed feeling that. And in fact, when this week the shooting incident in my neighborhood occurred, I I my go-to in a way was, where is the light in this? Where do I see the light? Where, so while it's been very painful and very sad, at the same time, I've really been trying to understand, where is the light? Where is the love? Where do these conditions, like block the love? And, where can we find that love in situations like this? So I was angry. I was very angry on when it happened, and like feeling like, how dare this person take away my freedom to go to the grocery store, my neighborhood grocery store, and feel safe. How on a personal level I was mad and feeling that way. And then I was like, well, you know, that probably wasn't his intention. He's probably hurting himself, So it allowed me to come to some sense of humanity in a way, but it's been a lot of that. It's been a lot of that walking through, the situation, and really like bringing myself back to this place of, where is the light? Where is the love? Where do we find this? And I've been inspired to write letters to my congressman, and post on social media and speak with my neighbors, and attend vigils, and all of that is good, because there's a sense of, I don't know, there's a sense of meaning, coming through in all of this. But I wonder what you see.
So it's not to look at a situation like this and try to craft it into something that feels good to you.
Right.
But when you're looking for the light, when you're looking for any sort of balance within this or any other troubling situation, we want you to put the situation aside for a moment. Because if you're getting in there and you're feeling the trauma and you're feeling the intensity of what's been going on, you're not able to get the broader view. And so we're not at all suggesting that you try to take this event and make it happy.
No.
But we are suggesting that you try to feel a little bit better throughout this. And that will likely not have anything to do with that subject. And that's where you start. And you make sure that you're able to find your balance and find it again and really maintain it. And as you have that stability, that's when the insight occurs to you. Mm. You don't take all of the information, all of the experience, and try to sort it all out and figure out the greater good. You just can't get there. Mm-hmm. So setting it aside does not do anyone disservice, does not do disservice to those who are involved or to your community. But it allows you to find the meaning that you're speaking of here. And as you do find that meaning, the answers, the solution, the resolution, all of that will occur to you. So it's not about saying the right things or thinking the right things or trying to use those right things to then evoke a feeling. In other words, there's a silver lining within everything, is something you may say to yourself, but you don't feel it. And if you don't feel it, there's no value in pursuing that. In other words, the goal is to not think that thought until you get the feeling. That it really does not work so much for you most of the time, especially in these bigger situations, bigger in the sense that there is more emotional impact.
That's for sure.
So there's the choice. And as we spoke of last conversation, it takes the decision. Well, the decision for what? The decision to find a solution, the decision to solve it for yourself and for everyone, or a decision to be able to find your own balance, to find your own value, to find your own contribution. And of course, that decision entwines you with that inner energy. And whether it's doing something nice for yourself or just ignoring it completely for a moment, when you find your footing, again, that's the same wavelength, if you would, where all of the solutions and the answers and the information exists. And that's where the words will come to you. That's where the inspiration will come from. That's where the revelation will come from. But you won't be paying lip service to it. It will be emotional. It will be tangible. It will be energetic. And not only is that necessary for you extracting meaning from this or any other circumstance, but it's also the foundation from which you'll be offering benefit to others. Because if you're just paying lip service to some nice sounding ideas, the energetic shift isn't there, and you can't find a way to be of benefit to your community or to yourself or to anyone involved because you're all so traumatized in that moment.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. That's good. The emotional response, you know, sort of the fear, all the beliefs about, racial injustice and hate and mental health and guns and, all of that, the trauma surrounding all of those issues, it felt like it all just came womp, like all of it just came and, triggered all of that emotion. And I think that, like, and I felt like, well, I've experienced those things from a distance, or from, you know, um, not up close and personal in a way. And this was different. And that impact that it had really made me, you know, like want to do something about the conditions. And I think that and maybe, and I did a few things, but I think what you're saying is, and I just want to step back and also say that a lot of people say these things happen, everybody gets all riled up, and then nothing changes, And I think that what I'd like to see come out of this situation is that, yes, something does change, that we find more of our, that, that we do find more of our common, you know, um, respect and caring for one another, that something does change. I don't know what that is. And what I hear you saying is that, you can kind of step back and find your balance as a person, as an individual, in relationship with this, with, my life, basically. And then as I focus perhaps on this issue, something, will come forward from me that's personally me,
Yes.
rather than being sucked into the whole, traumatic bubble of it. Yeah.
Yes, your individual contribution. And everyone has their individual contribution.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your collective contribution, which is all of you contributing together.
Mm-hmm.
But your relationship within all of this is going to be defined and then brought into meaningful expression as you achieve and maintain your own state of being. Because otherwise, you're just sort of acting out. And you don't know if the person that you're waving the sign at or the politician that you're shouting at is going to hear your words or be affected in any way. In fact, we would say the more traumatized you are in that moment of acting out, the less effective your actions will be. You see the great leaders coming forth throughout time, and they're not acting out of a place of strife as much as it is the solid, stable connection that comes from the resolution. In other words, leads to the resolution from that strife.
Yeah.
So we're not discounting the trauma. We're not discounting any of the negative experience, but we are saying, of course, and you know this clearly, to be able to find your contribution to the solution, you just have to find your own balance.
Yeah.
And then the action that occurs to you will be effective. It will harmonize with others. And there is change coming in the sense of legislation, as you call it, that
Yep.
is being brought forward and that will move forward as it has not in the past.
Yeah.
So you will see that coming into fruition.
Well, that's a big deal. If that happens, that's a big deal. You know, um, One of the things that I thought about from my perspective as, kind of a mother and a member of a community of people, like I don't know anyone who was involved, who was killed in the shooting, but people I know people, you know what I mean? So the people I dance with, like one of the women who was killed, I had danced with in dance class before, and one of the gentlemen who was killed lives on the next street, and I know his next door neighbor. So, it's kind of like, it feels like pretty close, um but I thought, and I know you had said this before, no one passes before their time, like no one leaves before their time. So if there was a reason, like, just would these folks have died for a reason? Like, would they have decided that this is like a good way to die because it creates an aftermath in a way that they wanted to serve the greater good
Yes, on an inner level.
on an inner level, on an inner level. Yeah. And even the shooter, even the person who is now going to be, you know, facing trial and imprisoned and all of that. Like, I kept thinking, well, maybe, like, it was beautiful the other night that Jewish Community Center held this vigil, which we attended, and the Islamic Center of Boulder had actually asked to participate because they said, and I know this is Boulder, it's a little bit different, but they said, we don't want Muslim people to get a bad name because this man is Muslim. We want to show our love, to our community as well. And so it almost felt like, there's an opportunity for, like, like, even with his horrific actions that he took, for him to contribute to that betterment as well in society.
In a sense, there is contribution. He may not be directly contributing to it, but there is always a resolution on the other side of that conflict. That
Yeah.
is what you're coming to see be brought into being.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Interesting times. These kinds of events, which have, like the guns in the United States in particular, people in other countries, they don't quite understand. I think we're unique in that respect, that we have all these guns and stuff in the hands of people. And is the idea of of shooting somebody, like a lot of people with a gun, this was another question I had, kind of something from a former life? Like, how does somebody decide, like, to pick up a gun and shoot somebody rather than, you know a club and beat them? Like, where does that come from in somebody's system? Because it feels so foreign to me in that respect. Does it come from hate, or just like video games, former lives? I don't know where it comes from. Yeah.
Intense discomfort.
Intense discomfort.
Intense discomfort and seeing others as the source of that discomfort.
Okay. Okay. Intense discomfort. And would that be like, if you come into this life with that kind of intense discomfort, even if you decide to be a part of a situation that will lead to the improvement, and you choose to, obviously make that choice, is it because you're still carrying as a soul that kind of pain? Or I thought that, like, when we leave the physical, that we lose all of that fear and that discomfort.
It was not carried on an inner level. The inner energy is always calling you forward to the resolution, but you don't have to listen. And if you take your attention away from that inner connection and start putting your focus on the words either written or spoken by others and believe those, in other words, everyone wants that connection. But if
Yeah.
you put it outside of yourself and say it's on the other side of the pearly gates, and the only way to achieve that is through a certain set of actions to make yourself worthy, for instance, you're basically willing to do anything it takes to achieve that, if that is your belief.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, that is some people's belief. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Anyway, um, I guess that, you know, as an individual, I think sometimes I was feeling a little guilty, finding, like, looking at the good in my life, feeling, you know, love about, the people in my life, the things that make me happy, like the good things. So crazy how the collective emotion, or the collective energy, kind of like sucks me in a way where I feel like I have to, you know, feel the feelings that everybody else is feeling rather than my own. So, um, yeah, it's good to be reminded that I can find that balance myself. Yeah.
It is real, it is magnetic.
Yeah. But the energy that I feel, that is love, and that is that I am loved within me, and that, really that's our nature. That's true. I mean, that's true too. And that's uplifting. That can be uplifting and
But there
to
are
other.
so many, most, who do not even have the slightest inkling of that connection with their inner energy. So when an event like that occurs, everyone is looking to each other to sort of band together for strength.
Yeah.
But you can feel, as you approach that mentality, as you approach that group, you can feel whether or not that resonates with your own inner energy, because you have that awareness, you have that barometer, you have that standard to
Yeah.
measure against. But not everyone has had that experience. And so they do not have that measuring stick.
Yeah.
So where do you look for strength? You look to the physical ones around you, and you arm yourselves, and you scream out, and you huddle together, and yet these events continue to occur. So it takes those who are able to step back from the experience to receive the insight in terms of solutions and to follow the next steps that are provided from that inner energy, not trying to get everyone else to listen, not trying to force something into place, because your leverage is so much more effective when you have that connection with the inner energy. And what you can do will be presented to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. I can feel that that's true. Yeah. Um, okay. Well, I just wanted to switch gears here for a minute then. I've been thinking, feeling lately that the I don't know, I've just been feeling that I want my intention is that I would like to slowly or peacefully or easily move into more and more of doing my writing, kind of um, my spiritual psychology work, my spiritual psychotherapy work. I'm not exactly sure what that may look like, in the long term, but I've just been feeling like that feels where I want to go. And so my desire is to kind of make that shift slowly. I don't have to rush off and change everything, but just slowly, 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 or at least, with intention every day, but not all consuming, intention. So because I recognize that I still have this attachment to the condition of, an income from my work and a house and, taking care of my family and that kind of thing. Not that that has to stop, like it can all come together. Um, so, uh, so in any event, I wanted to ask you, in stepping into that desire and intention, I've been doing a little bit of writing. Where would you see, like, where would you see that energy like best spent in? Um, so journaling, visual creativity, um, kind of just loving what I'm doing now, accepting in a very beautiful way that all is well as it is, and opening the door to allow more, inspiration to come through, more
Well,
energy.
what you've given us is a rough draft. Yes, it's a little bit of a sketch. That was a little nebulous. And when you're giving
Yeah.
a nebulous vision, you get a nebulous response, and things do not move very quickly. And so that's why you feel a little bit of a sort of slow down with the energy, because there isn't the clear vision. When the vision is clear and you get to create it as you desire, but when you filled it in to a T, the energy is moving more quickly and more quickly. And so you're not sort of coming and saying, I sort of would like this thing, but I'm not really sure how it would fit in or if it's a good time or how it would look. Because take that, what you just said, and imagine projecting it into your future. It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that, it's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that.
Oh yeah.
So when you come to a conversation like this, or just in general approaching this idea, we want it to be clear. And so that's one aspect of the work. That's really the foundational work, is to fill it in, become more detailed, feel it out within your mind. Think, oh, I'd like to work this many hours a day. I would like it to be one-on-one versus individual. I would like it to feel like this. I would like to work with this sort of person. I would like to have these sorts of conversations. And we don't want you to rush to to some sort of end result and then stick to it, but feel it out as you're designing it, because that's really the work. As you're developing that vision, it will continue to shift and it will continue to change. And as it evolves and becomes more real, it will continue to evolve, and you'll experience things that you may not like as much, and you'll make a shift there. But you can play out so much of it within your mind, within the vision, that then you're coming to a conversation and you're saying, this is my vision. It feels thrilling. And what's next?
Mhm,
And the
mhm.
next steps will always be presented to you as you continue that refinement process, the envisioning, if you would. But you cannot put the cart before the horse in that sense and expect to have next steps occur to you when the end result has not yet been defined.
Yeah.
And the steps to the end result will take care of themselves. Of course, there will be action for you to take, things for you to accomplish, skills for you to hone, people for you to hire, and so forth. But until that vision is clear and defined, your action will be just as nebulous in its effect as the vision itself.
That's really helpful, Joseph. I had forgotten about that, actually, the idea that what I'm putting forward now is what is being created. So that energy is, like attracting or following the, yeah. So it's also very encouraging to me because um I think that I have hesitancy around allowing that vision to fill in and really going for it,
Mhm.
to the extent that I would like to see it because of these other kinds of, well, I give myself these other reasons like, oh, but I need to have this monthly income, and oh, I need to have, this and that and this and that. And so it kind of slows down the energy, stops the energy. So
It does.
yeah, so I hear you. Good reminder. Not that you've never told me this before, but yes.
Indeed. And it applies to all things, but it bears repeating.
Thank you.
15 minutes spent refining your vision is exponentially more effective than 15 minutes trying to figure out what the heck to do next.
Well, those are good words.
Spending that time trying to figure out what to do next isn't really going to move you forward. We're taking that 15 minutes for filling in the vision and refining it and refining it and refining it. That's going to lead to the next step automatically. So it's
Mm,
just about where you're putting your focus.
mm,
And then as you continue to refine, and again, it is an ongoing process. Think of the marble you're continuing to take away, continuing to take away, continuing to take away. The energy moves faster and faster and faster. And that's when you just know what to do.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then it's, of course, about doing it. And
Mm,
that's really where you want to take the physical action. That's where you're figuring things out. That's where you're engaging the sort of intellectual problem solving mind. So there is a place for the intellect, very much so, being engaged through this. But
you know what I've been doing, like with the bathroom remodel thing, like I we didn't have a plumber, and it was important to have a plumber when you're remodeling the bathroom because Jeff's plumber couldn't come for a month. So I said to myself, it's my intention that the right plumber will come forward. And I asked one of my daughters to contact her networking group. And I asked my other daughter's husband because he's a contractor, to see if he knew anybody. And then I called like a plumber company. Anyway, I did all those things because I felt like, all right, it's my intention. I'm going to scout this out. And the right plumber has showed up through my daughter's husband, and but I was conscious of the fact that this was my intention, to have the right plumber come at the right time. So, and I felt that power of that intention, and I knew that the right plumber would come at the right time. I didn't know through who or how or when, but I knew, through my intention. So in this visioning process, refining process, it's sort of like the same thing. If I want to have a center of, spiritual psychology or something like that, where people can work on their personal transformation with support, let's say that's my vision, then, you know, knowing that that's my vision, it's kind of like, okay, that's what I want. I know that that's what's going to happen. That's where I'm going. That's the result. And then in the process, I'm guided almost in a way to talk to this person, that person, read this thing, write that thing, maybe refine it a little bit better. That's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But all of the details will take care of themselves.
Hmm. Yeah, the
You'll be
detail.
involved in it. When there's action for you to take, it will be presented to you. When there's no need for you to take action, it will be taken care of.
Yeah.
But unless you have the foundation being that vision, you don't know what's what.
Yeah. 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 And one thing also that you taught me that I've really recognized is that it's not about it's not about the money, it's about the work that the money supports or whatever. Money's part of the energy of creating the vision. It's not the thing, right?
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a byproduct. It's another sort of these steps. Some of them are financial steps, some of them require finances. And so when we're talking about things that are taking care of themselves, that's part of the process as well.
Yeah. Because it's all involved already in the
It
whole.
is.
Yeah, it's all in the whole. Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. Yeah. All right. This feels good. Feels like I'm on the right track here. Thank you very much.
And so all you have to do, you have this sort of feeling, you have this general intention, and then you can even just go into meditation with the intention for things to be refined. And then let that go, and then see what shows up for you.
Mhm,
And the pieces that energize you, the pieces that call you forward, use that as part of your vision.
mhm, mhm. Yeah. 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 No limits. No limits. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay. It's fun. It's fun to
It
create.
is.
Yeah.
And that's how you know it's working, because you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Okay.
And use that same approach in the vision, where you can gauge by the feeling if it's something that you want to incorporate.
Mm,
If you're designing a lifestyle because that's how everyone else has do it and has done it, and you're going to stick it out
mhm,
because that's how they've all done it, well, feel that tension. And yes, you can grind and torture yourself like many others have. And if you believe that that's the path that you need, then that will be part of it. And you'll come out on the other side, feel triumphant and satisfied. But it is not necessary. So we do not recommend that you bring it into the vision that you're creating.
yeah. No. No, I don't. I definitely agree with you with that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I don't think I have any other questions for this evening. I really appreciate being able to work with you through these things, these events. And yeah, it's been major. So thank you. If you
Indeed.
feel like a rock in my life, thank you.
And it's always with you. So all you have to do is let the energy flow in your meditation. The new ideas will start to come. Use all of those components, bring them all together into a vision, focus there, feel the energy moving, hash out the details, and then let it go, move throughout your day. And then when the inspiration comes to take the next step, that's your opportunity. That's where the quote unquote work comes in.
Mhm.
And then the next day, you do it again.
Mm. Okay. Well, I feel like it's coming. Thank you.
Indeed. It is coming. Can you bring that into more? Can you bring that closer?
That's a good question. Yes, I can bring it closer. I feel like it's actually unfolding. It's unfolding now. It's unfolding now. Yeah.
It's closer.
I feel like it's unfolding and that it's me. That it's me. That I feel joy in connecting with myself, with who I am, and creating and being the creator of this through my enthusiasm.
Indeed. We've enjoyed this conversation very much, and we are complete.
Thank you.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, Aaron. That was a very practical conversation. It was really awesome. I mean, practical in the sense that, there's a transformative quality always, but there was also a sense that, um, you know, we've got the, we've got like, we've got the tools, we've got the communication now with Joseph feels like I know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I know what they mean. It's not like, it's almost like a little like reminder, oh yeah, familiar, this is really familiar, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm doing it too. I like that process a lot.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
and it keeps refining. It keeps like shifting and changing, and
Yeah,
but
it
that's the
doesn't stay
fun.
the same, does it? It's
Not for
not
me.
like, yeah.
It changes all the
That's,
time. I think that's kind of the fun of it.
yeah, yeah, I have to loosen up a little bit with that. Sometimes I do get like roped into, this
Oh
is the
my
way it
gosh, me
has to
too. Mm-hmm.
be. Life.
Yeah, and that's one thing that Joseph always talks about is like the giving yourself permission to feel it out as much as possible. I'm not definitely in my case, I'm like, well, this is the right thing. And if it's the right thing, then I need to do it, but kind of being like, well, or I could do this, or I could do
Or
this, or I could do this,
yeah,
and even if I've gone like 5 steps into something and then it starts to not feel right, then it's like, okay, time to reassess. But I guess that's easier said than
yeah,
done sometimes for sure.
right, right. No, I like hearing that actually. It's not, if things aren't fixed, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, have a nice rest of your evening. Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this with
you.
me.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure. Have a good
Okay.
week. Talk
All
soon.
right. I will. Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.